Hey, what's going on, everybody? Aunt Pruitt here. I hope you're doing well. I'm unbelievable as always. And sorry if it sounds like I'm talking really, really fast or much faster than I normally do, but sort of frantic right now because I'm running late with the whole lot of wonderful things going on throughout the day, but it's all good. We shall manage. We are here, the smartphone photographers community, getting together tonight, having our little hangout on there that we like to call point and shoot. Hope y'all are doing well. This is the community where we get together to talk about different tips, tricks, ideas, and thoughts and so forth regarding the wonderful world of smartphone photography. As we like to prove to everybody that the little cameras you're walking around with in your pocket every single day can do more than just take selfies and food shots. We promise you. So, joined tonight with my man here, Mr. Joey Kelly, up in Maine. How you doing, Mr. Kelly?
Doing very well tonight here, Mr. Ant. It has finally turned into something resembling spring.
That doesn't
The
happen in
battery
Maine.
is back. Yeah, the battery is back in the motorcycle. I went for a 5-mile ride. I froze my tuchus off, but it was worth it. Maniacal laughter was heard throughout my hometown, just below, just above the burbling exhaust. You know.
What kind of bike you riding?
I have a 2007 Yamaha V-Star 1300 Tour, which is it's a. Do I have a picture somewhere? I bet I can find one real quick. But it's a really nice bike, fuel injected, and whatnot. So you don't really worry too much about the is it gonna start, type of thing. But it's really a nice. It's a really, really, really nice ride, and let me see if I could find.
I want to get a motorcycle. I've actually tried to get a motorcycle a few times here in my life, and always came up short because other things were priority. But it's okay.
Well, motorcycling is a fun thing. It really is. This is a horrible shot. I'm going to admit this right now. It's a horrible shot, but it will suffice to show you what it looks like. Let's see. There you go. Shot with an HTC One.
Look at that.
That's the silver bullet. Ching. Yep. Now, I don't know if you can see where my mouse is, but right there is now a permanently mounted in welded flag holder. Cool. I ride with the Patriot Guard Riders. We do veterans funerals and military support events, and I have a 3-foot by 5-foot American flag on a 6-foot pole that is semi-permanently mounted to the back of the bike.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
Cool stuff, man.
And
well,
last year I actually snapped 6 flags off the back of the bike.
It tends to happen.
That happens.
Gazillion mile an hour.
Yeah. So I actually went out on my Facebook and I said, okay, I got 2 flags I can choose from. I got a POW MIA flag and I got a Jolly Roger. And everyone's like, pirate flag. So I rode around for 3 days with a pirate flag on the back of my bike. And I noticed that everybody seemed to be backing off from me in traffic.
You think?
And kind of staying away from me a little bit more than usual. And I'm going, come on, what do you people think? I'm going to break out, from a hip holster and try to jack your SUV in traffic? Come on. This is not Somalia.
No, you're going to get out and you're
right.
going to point your smartphone at them and snap a nice, wonderful, candid photo because that's what you do. Appreciate you hopping in, man. Good to see you as always. So let's go ahead and get into it. What?
Okay, speaking of your intro, by the way, just quick aside, my adopted grandfather, was flipping through Shutterbug, which, of course, they run a lot of monthly contests for their magazine subscribers. Yep. And consistently now, at least half of the pictures that are winning are smartphones.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. I actually want to have a discussion about that here in a little bit, just regarding the nature of our smartphones. But we'll get into that in a little bit. First off, what we normally do, folks, is we get together and we have a weekly photography challenge. Sometimes it ends up being 2 weeks, depending on circumstances. last week we talked about our challenge, and I extended it because we didn't have a lot of participation. I wasn't sure why. I didn't want to speculate why, but I said, you know what? Let's extend this thing. Let's try to get a little more participation from the community members. It's a closed challenge. It's only for the community members, and we vote on those shots using the +1 system inside of Google Plus. So we talk about that generally here each week. And then we also talk about any other topical things in the world of smartphone photography or photography in general, or whether it's apps that have been updated, apps that have come out, different resources that we have found, so on and so forth. Just little things that can help everybody watching this get a little bit better at taking shots on their phones. But before we get into the challenge, I wanted to allow Mr. Kelly to discuss a nice little event that's about to kick off that I think anybody with a smartphone camera can take advantage of. What's that, Mr. Kelly? You sound like you're muted. Are you muted, Mr. Kelly?
I muted myself. That is something that almost everyone that has ever met me has wanted to do, is find the mute button.
Unbelievable.
I found it, and then I forgot I turned it on. So anyway, what I was starting to say was that one of the benefits of living here in the United States of America is that if you are a paying citizen of the United States of America, which I think all of us are, at least those of us that live here, we get free admission to our United States public national parks for 1 week in every April. There are also some other dates that various agencies sponsor on their own, but from April the 16th, which is this coming Saturday, through April the 24th, which is the following Sunday, you get free admission to any national park for every U.S. citizen. So nice. Get out and get to your park.
Very nice. Very nice. Now, the thing is, what types of parks is it just the typical, you got your green grass and a couple of water fountains here and there and a couple of benches? Does this include things like what's out there at Yellowstone and things like that?
Anything that is a national park. There's a lot of state parks out there that are not necessarily included with this.
Okay.
But for instance, let me see, U.S. National Park Week. I believe I
More
can
than
get
400 parks available.
Exactly. And
okay.
I mean, we're talking about, let's see.
And you can drill in. Looks like on the website you can drill in per state and so forth. Yep. Like I'm here in North Carolina, and this is pretty cool. They give you
so every national park,
resources.
So anything that's along the lines of, I think even things like Steamtown National Historic Site, which would normally be a hefty day pass, would be included in this, I think. Let me see if I can find that to confirm.
What's it called?
It's Steamtown National Historic Site. No, I don't see that listed in here.
Okay. So
maybe that one isn't. Maybe that one's exempt.
Yeah. So there are some limitations, but there's still plenty to choose from.
Oh, whoops! I went on the wrong state. That's why.
Regarding the state that you're in.
Yeah, let's try.
State that you reside. I should say that.
No, this can go to any state.
No. Well, yeah, I guess you could say that too. Yeah, any state.
Yeah. So, I mean, for instance, if I was headed to Pennsylvania,
right.
Let me see if that one is. Oh, the Flight 93 Memorial is included.
Oh, wow.
Yep. And Steamtown, which I specifically mentioned, is also included. I was one state off on my map click. So, yeah, it's a great, tremendous resource. We pay for these parks through our tax dollars. So indirectly, we're paying for these anyway. We might as well go.
Head on out there, take your camera with you, and get some very, very beautiful shots, weather pending, or if the weather's not cooperating, make something out of the shot anyway.
Yep, exactly.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and take a look at our challenge this week, Mr. Kelly. Mm-hmm. This challenge was, as I mentioned last week, was picked by me. I didn't want to make it too easy and I didn't want to make it too difficult, but I hope to be somewhere in between, if not closer to the difficult side, because I like to challenge myself and I like to challenge others. That's just who I am. And it was called emotional. Okay. And the thing is, I didn't want anybody to go out there and just grab the camera and just snap a shot and say, here's an emotion. No, I wanted it to be as specific as possible. And I wanted it to be emotions that you don't quite see captured all the time, So I broke it down to be a list of, let's see, 5 emotions. Yeah, 5 emotions. We got pensive, awe, frustrated, nervous, and saddened. And I thought about those, and I remember going through some what was it, Merriam's-Dictionary.com or whatever, and I was trying to look things up to see what they mean, and tried to think about equating them to the world of photography, and ended up with this list here. So I figured it would be a pretty decent challenge at that. But we got about 20 shots submitted from, looks like it said 12 different people. So we did get some pretty good participation. I appreciate the folks stepping in and participating and asking questions and leaving comments about the event and challenge and so forth. So what I'm going to do now is I will share my screen and we'll take a look at some of the shots that were shared here, including some from Mr. Kelly.
Yeah, I'm start off with my one voter.
Yeah, I'm picking on you first, my man. So do you see my screen okay?
I do.
All right. So let's go ahead and fire this up. All right. So you have a Nexus 6 shot straight out of the camera, no processing involved. And you put down the emotion was awe. Take me through this shot, Mr. Kelly.
Okay. Not a lot to it, honestly. Turn on the selfie cam, make sure you're somewhat lined up in the right spot, hit the button. That's the mechanics. Mm-hmm. The pose is me trying to appear awestruck. The problem is it can also look like I'm about to eat a hot dog. The difference is minimal. Just saying. Now, the thing is, for those that don't know what this is, I suppose this doesn't mean anything.
Right.
I was at BCTC, the Bangor Comic and Toy Convention, the local variant of the Comic-Con family. This is a full-size, actually jumbo-sized TARDIS from Doctor Who.
And see, the thing is, Mr. Kelly, I didn't catch that until just now when I looked at it a little bit closer. That's why I gave it a +1. And I'm not the most geekiest of geeks out there, but I know how geek culture loves them some Doctor Who and how they love them some TARDIS, I swear. But no, I totally get it on this shot. But had I not known the context, I'd have been like, that's not awe. That looks like surprise or ooh, I'm in trouble, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and to be fair, this was actually the 4th, 5th variant of trying this. I kind of came to the conclusion that if I really am going to do an awful lot of selfies, I really do need to get the selfie stick, because I just could not get the angle that I wanted. I am looking to see if I've got the other ones handy. I do.
And the thing, I'll say this. I can't stand those selfie sticks when I see them out in public, but I'm also a guy that has very long arms. And I could take advantage of that when, if I actually want to do a selfie shot or what have you. Trust me, I hate selfies of myself. It's just not my personality. But if I have to use that front camera like that pointed towards me, I do notice that I have a much better advantage than most people out there because of the reach that I have. And I see why people use those selfie sticks, even though I can't stand looking at them out there in public.
Well, picture me as kind of like a T-Rex with really short arms, trying to go, I want to take selfie.
That just might be a problem. I could see that now.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Yeah.
Looks like we got somebody popping in on us now.
Oh,
that
Mr.
Like
Michael King.
Mr. King, how you doing, brother?
Frustrated. Still.
So what else is new?
Yeah.
Good to see you down there in the Houston, Texas area. Go ahead, Mr. Kelly.
So anyway, this was the 4th or 5th version of this. And I stand by a statement I have made before, and I will make again. It is extremely hard to take a selfie and not have it look exactly like everybody else's selfie on the planet.
Mm-hmm. It is difficult.
As a result, I oftentimes take mine one-handed. I will oftentimes, for instance, the other shot that I took was also a selfie. I don't know if that's noticeable. If you want to go to that one, we can talk about that too, because it also didn't win.
No, that one I did like, and I did want to talk about it, but we'll get to that one here. Let's see. There it is. Yeah, this one I did like.
I did like that one too. I voted for it.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. At least I know 2 out of the 3.
You shot this with the Nexus 6 stock under marshmallow snapseed, cropped, black and white, contrast, brightness, and a few tweaks here. And Mr. Kelly, this I totally dig it. It looks like you're in deep thought. And I'll even go to the fact that I was thinking, a tighter crop on it, just to put even more focus on you, like right about there. But I love this, and I love the idea of the seam on your couch here, just giving me another line of going from left to right, man. I really, really like this shot, Joey. Really like this shot.
Well, ironically, talk about the mechanics of it a little bit. Oh, I'm sorry, Michael King. Do you want to talk about it too?
Yeah.
I agree with what Ant said. If you would have cropped it a little bit, but it's great as it is.
Yeah. I mean, the tone of it's not all blown out. It's really, really clear, Joey. This is really well done, man. Really like it.
Well, thank you. The original is not. Well, it's interesting in its own way.
Okay. Why?
Well, let me show you. That is the original.
Yeah, much better cropped down.
Yeah,
much better cropped down.
And black and white even enhances it even more, I think.
Indeed.
The black and white was actually probably the first thing I did. And I knew that I wanted it to be cropped because I felt it had too much above and not enough below. The square crop was a judgment call. Lately, I've been doing it almost as a nod to Mr. Sweeney.
Right.
That, and it does give you kind of a symmetrical look upon the picture. And I like working within the contrast of it having to be perfectly square too. What is
a
not
challenge in itself, yeah.
Oh yeah, and what is not apparent from this is that although I shot this with the Nexus 6, and let me come out of the Hangout here, out of the screen share. Although I shot this with the Nexus 6, I shot this with the front camera. Excuse me, the back camera, the primary camera. So I shot this with the phone facing the screen, facing away from me, with my finger, in theory, on the button.
Right. No viewfinder, hoping you could frame it just good enough, kind of thing.
And this was, I think, attempt number 3.
That's a hell of an effort, dude. Because what at least in my experience, Mr. Kelly, when shooting something like that, I get a lot of jitter.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's because you're trying to find the dadgum shutter on the screen because it's, you know, because even if you try to use a button as a shutter, it's just not natural. So you shake just that nth of a second and totally screws that shot up. You know, but you nailed this one, bro. Good one.
Well, the first one was too far to the right. Couldn't see me at all. The second one, I actually blinked. I don't know how I managed that. But the other thing...
You're pulling the trigger and you still blink.
And I still managed to blink. It's amazing. And it's not quite what I wanted. The background isn't right. The cropping wasn't quite right. And the thing is that I've been, as a cost-saving measure lately, I've been doing my own haircuts, and I've been told that this last one sucked. So I tried to...
Don't comment.
I didn't want to have my hair in it, which is why it's cropped back to my ear. And that was actually done with the lens. The cropping on this that I did in Snapseed was leaving the lower left-hand corner of the frame and bringing the square out. So the left hand, my face, my ear, etc., that is exactly as shot.
I love it. I love it. I mean, even down to being able to see texture within the couch here, as well as just the natural textures on your face, you know, the hair follicles and whatnot. This, good job, dude. Good. What was your lighting? Just the sun from the window? Any other lighting?
Sun from the window. Thought about turning on the overhead light in the room, but decided against it. That was one of the other problems with the shooting blind the way I did. The first shot, I had I had the light from the window, which you can see off to the right, in the shot, and it blew out the exposure, changed it around, and made my face dark. In this case, I was able to get around that. What's also interesting is that this was shot on a nice, clear day with good sun. However, this window that's off to my right, you can see the frame. The frame of the window is on the right side of the frame of the picture.
Of course, of course.
And the only light that's coming through there is what's bouncing off of my neighbor's house.
Nice.
Because this is the west side of the house that we're looking at, and this was shot at 11:47 a.m. So all we're getting is the reflection.
Yeah, reflection off of it, because the sun's pretty much straight up in the air then.
Pretty much. Okay. So it's what's bouncing off my neighbor's house that's lighting this. So it has this very soft effect.
Interesting.
Yep.
Well done, man. Well done. Let's take a look at few other shots here before we look at the top vote getter. I'm gonna pick on her since she's not here to defend herself. Let's go and take a look at Miss Deborah Walmer's photograph here. Shot with her new Samsung Galaxy S7 with the front-facing camera, playing around in good old Snapseed black and white and adjusting her contrast. What I like about this shot is, on a personal note, I know how geek-tacular Miss Deborah is, and to see her there sitting at her workstation, keyboard in hand and whatnot, and she's probably looking at some monitoring software because she manages servers all day and all night. And there's always that one time when you're looking at a particular server log that just makes you go, what the heck is going on? And that's that face. That's that face right there. Thinking, what in the world is going on with this? Sorry, what okay, this log entry means this, yada yada yada. Okay, so what happens if I do that? That's that face right there. That's the face I'm going to be having for the rest of my evening here at my workstation, you know. I totally love this shot. I can't change much of anything on it. Maybe lower exposure just a touch, but outside of that, nope, nothing else. Your thoughts, Mr. Kelly?
By the way, we had talked actually before we went live that this was a double submission. Yeah. It actually isn't. If you go back and look at the other one, I don't know which one you clicked on first, it's not actually identical. She submitted two variations.
Yeah, she did one. It looks like a bokeh.
Yeah, it looks. She's really blurred the background and whatnot. And I don't know if she intended to submit both or not because they are almost identical. I actually like the more blurred one from an artistic standpoint.
Really? You do?
I do, because the emphasis is more on the face.
That's the blurred one there versus the non-blurred here.
And you'll note that it's also slightly dimmer.
Well, I guess when you're blurring out that white bar, it sort of inherently does that.
No, I don't think so. I think she tweaked it to be slightly dimmer, I think. I'm not 100% sure of that, but I think, because the brightness of the object isn't affected by cropping. But from an artistic standpoint, I actually like the blurred face because it is more in the standard, or the blurred not face, excuse me, more in the standard realm of what we would consider to be a portrait type of photo. That having been said, this is one of those times when a little bit is good and too much doesn't help. And the blur is good, but the blur is too aggressive.
Okay.
It's one thing to blur the background, it's another thing to blur everything except for the face and part of the hand and part of the upper body.
Whoops. Yeah, it blurs pretty much up to here, up to her.
More or less. It looks like there's a strip or an oval down the middle of her face that is not blurred, and then everything else is blurred. And it's a little too much. It looks unnatural. And when you think about it in this pose, the nose, the face, a good portion of the arm, a good portion of the clothing, a good portion of the hair is all going to be in the same plane. So it should be all in focus.
Okay.
If you want to blur the background, that's fine. I got no problem with that. But when you're aggressively blurring like this, it doesn't work. It's too much.
Mr. King, your thoughts?
I really like both of them. For some reason, I like this one the best because it really looks like someone having a lot of, like, what the heck? I'm trying to keep it clean. You know, what the heck is going on? Or did I press the wrong button?
Well, I think personally that this is probably the face that most women make when they see my dating profile.
No, if it was in color, it'd be turning really yucky yellow because it's like they're getting sick.
Right, kind of a pukey color, yeah.
That's not right. That's not right, man.
Well,
it's accurate, though.
Anything you would have done differently with this, Mr. King?
Not really. I had agreed with. I like the blurring one, but for some reason, I just like this one a little better.
So that's blurring, and that's the unblurred. That's my winner right there of those two shots. All right, so let's move on. Take a look at a few more. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Where'd it go? This one, I'm actually going to pick on this dude twice. This shot here, it only got one vote, and it was from me. But it struck me because I immediately knew what was going on when I saw this, personally anyway, because from my own experience, when I see puppies or dogs or what have you, they're normally just sort of sitting around and their head is sort of tilted down just about to here in general, if they're just sort of hanging out, if they're not flat out just lying down on the floor. But if they're seated like this and their head is sort of erect like this, makes you wonder, all right, they're looking, they're pondering, what are they focusing on out there? And it just made me think, all right, this dog sees something. He's wondering, can I get it? Can I get to it? That kind of thing. But it struck me that way. But what I also like is the fact that this thing is really, really clear and crisp. I'm assuming you use some Galaxy phone. Can't tell which model this is, but this thing is really, really sharp and really, really crisp. Nice work, my man. Mr. Chris Syme shot this.
S6, by the way.
S6? All right. Mm-hmm. Very, very nice photo. What are your gentlemen thoughts on it?
Oh, you go ahead and take this one, Mike.
I need to go back. I thought I locked on the screen. I like it. It's just, I like any kind of dog pictures, but
did it trip your trigger?
Yeah, I liked it. It's just that I'm not too sure this really met the criteria of the challenge, but still, I love any kind of dog picture, and it looks like he might be looking for his master, or he sees him and he's waiting for him to come up.
Mm-hmm. No, again, I guess I can say there's a reach here on that, but it just, and then again, maybe it's because I've had a dog for a couple of weeks now, a new dog a couple of weeks, and this is the kind of stuff that I've noticed I've been paying attention to in general, more so recently than before. Your thoughts, Mr. Kelly?
Well, it's definitely a shot that you could say could raise the woof.
Oh gosh.
Yes, I did just go there. Next week it'll be who lets the dog out. But anyway, yeah.
Shoot me. Shoot me. Go ahead.
Bang, bang, bang.
Yeah, that would be Michael King trying to shoot me from Texas. Not gonna work, dude. Anywho, two things about this. Personal annoyance. I really dislike when people put a border around the photo.
Okay.
I know why they do it. They do it because they feel that they need to in order to either enhance the colors or detract from the colors within the photo, because it's a visual hack. The black background on a black and white picture will always make the white seem brighter, for instance, and it will also always make the black seem blacker for what it's worth.
Yep.
So a black background on a color shot is always going to make the colors look more vibrant, and
contrast.
Always going to it may increase the contrast. It depends. It can. It depends on how much what color the subject is. In this particular case, it doesn't actually enhance the contrast much because the edges of the shot are very dark. However, it's a personal pet peeve of mine because I feel personally that it is, as I mentioned, it's a visual hack, and I don't like being visually hacked. I like having my images be compelling enough that I don't need to add a frame to it to make you think it's a cool picture. No offense, Chris. By the way, nothing personal, because you're not the only one that's done it. It's just a personal thing for me. I just don't like to see it. It's one of the reasons why, by the way, they actually have, when they do a photo contest, and they have people judging things, they often have a strict stipulation as to what you can mount the photo or the print, more specifically, on.
Yeah, a lot of them say no frames. I've seen that myself.
Yep, no frames, and oftentimes it must be on a white mat. Sometimes, or whatnot. But that's often brought up because they don't want someone to be a better framer and win because they have an identical picture to somebody else that didn't frame it quite as well. Just my thoughts.
Interesting.
Second, as a dog owner and cat owner, by the way.
Mushu.
Yes, Mushu, who's currently not on my shoulder for once tonight. Not sure why. I honestly have a hard time seeing emotion in pets.
Oh, really?
I shouldn't say seeing emotion. I should say interpreting what that emotion actually is.
Other than a wagging tail is what you're saying, huh?
There are some that are very easy. Wagging tail, but here's the thing. The wagging tail can be, I'm happy. It can be, I want something, so I'm trying to get your attention, so I'm going to look happy.
Mm-hmm.
And probably several other variations there that I just don't know about. Now, you were speaking about the ears. If this particular dog was really keyed in on what he was looking at, his ears would be up and focused at it.
Oh, no, I didn't say anything about the ears. I was saying just their chin.
Oh, okay. Well, but if a dog is really focused, particularly this type of dog, if they're really focused on something, my dog's ears will go from flat if he's mildly interested to literally like satellite dishes tuned in on something. And almost all dogs will do that.
Yep.
If he was genuinely interested in this, if he was genuinely pensive, worried, awestruck, etc. about something, his ears would be tuned in on it.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'll give you that.
So again, it's what is the emotion trying to be portrayed? We personally, as human beings, have no way to ask the dog what the dog is feeling in that motion. We're putting our own interpretive filter on what we see and trying to make it into an emotion that we understand.
Mm-hmm.
In this particular case, are we doing that? Are we not doing that? I honestly don't know. There's no way to tell. But a lot of the time I hear, I'll hear somebody come, I took a picture of my dog and he really looks like he's thinking hard.
Mm-hmm.
I love my dog, but in general, there's no, to my understanding, there's no research that says they actually think. They are instinctive and they react.
Right.
But they don't actually think.
Right.
So,
that's the fun with shots like that, when you know that they're reactive creatures and you be able to capture them in a certain moment, and it allows the artistic side of you to try to interpret, what exactly is this animal thinking right now? The same way we do with just snapping shots of people. Sometimes we don't know the true story there, but their particular body language caught in that snap or facial expression caught in that snap can allow you to interpret all kinds of things, Yeah. Good points, though, Mr. Kelly.
Just saying.
Good points. All right, so let's move on to his other shot before we get to the winning one. This one I really enjoyed, too. I mean, there may be cliche with it, but he got it. He got it just as we said. I want awestruck or nervous or saddened or frustrated, and the way he has his camera set to make this sandwich look larger than life and the big eyes, boom, works. Because I'm pretty sure that's just a regular man sandwich. That sandwich is not bigger than his head. But the way he set that camera down, his S6, hey, good job, man. Chris Syme again. Go ahead, Kelly. What's your thoughts, sir?
Holy cliche Batman.
Yeah, cliche, but again, he hit the mark.
The only thing this is missing is a sign over his head that says Epic Deli.
Yeah, it's cliche, but it hit the mark.
Tell you what, Chris, go back and Photoshop in a sign that says something to do with my sandwiches is bigger than yours. Okay, here's what I like. It is, first of all, it looks like a very good sandwich.
You think?
Just, for what it's worth. Second, I like the framing. I like the use of the lighting. It's extremely subtle.
Oh man,
but
yeah.
I would guess that this is not nearly as simple a shot as it looks.
No, he put some work into this. You can see it. He put some work into it. I much respect, Chris.
Oh yeah, this is a deceptively simple looking shot. It looks just like a dude in a sandwich. Oh my God, look at the sandwich. Oh, but in reality, I'm sure that he's either got a overhead light or one of your light panels that your favor, Ant, or something focused at him in order to gain this effect.
You can see it in his point. You can see it in his eyeballs. You can see it in his eyeballs right there.
Exactly, and it's a single point shot because as we look at it, left side of his face is brighter than as we look at it, right side of the face. So it's a single point of light. And as the light is, dissipating into the background and causing the background to be black, it works very, very, very well. So that's what I like. What I don't like is the black frame around the end of it, plus what appears to be the grunge filter.
I like the filter.
I
agree with you on the frame. No need for that, but I like the filter.
Yeah, well, no, but all it's doing is providing a little noise around the edges, and it doesn't do anything for the shot. It doesn't hurt it really, but it doesn't do anything for it either. It's just unnecessary, in my opinion. But yeah, I mean, the overall great shot. But one of the things that I personally like to see us stay away from, unless the challenge specifically calls for it, is food shots, because that's kind of a smartphone cliche.
It is. It is, as we said in the intro.
What, do you have some emotions, Chevy, that you'd like to share with us about that dog shot?
Oh, the dog. What are your thoughts, Mr. King?
Again, it's an interesting shot. And I like the way, as you say, I like the way he did it. Having the camera closer to that sandwich, which is making me hungry because I haven't had dinner yet. And just the look, it's cliche, but then this whole your whole challenge was a lot of cliche stuff. So yeah, I like it. It's quite well done.
Right. Mr. Chris Syme. Well freaking done, my man. Well
done. It's probably the best food shot that I've seen us do. Jeez. Been submitted, I mean. For a while.
I think it's one of the more clever food shots. Yeah, I'll definitely.
Yeah, definitely. Points for cleverness, no question.
Yeah. All right, so let's take a look at our top vote getter. And this is a name I haven't said in a little while in the community. This one comes from Miss Nicole H. We love Nicole. She's so daggum cool. Using her Galaxy S6 Snapseed HDR filter, reduced the saturation all the way with a touch of lens blur, Photoshop Express to adjust the clarity, reduce the noise, and the slight sharpen, adjust the shadows. And then inside of her standard photo editor on the Galaxy, she added a little more saturation and contrast and her little watermark there on the bottom left. Mr. King, let's let you discuss this shot first.
What can I say?
You tell me.
I mean, it's hard to, I can't, there's not a single thing I can see she did wrong. I know probably a certain Kelly will probably nitpick it, but I think it's just well done. It's all framed just right, just the expression, everything. I don't see anything I would do differently. It's just so well done.
Mr. Kelly, your thoughts?
Well, no, I just okay. There's a good side and there's a bad side to all the processing. First of all, it tells you that she did an awful lot to get the shot. She put a lot of time and effort into the shot, which is commendable and good. And as Ant and I have discussed, I think privately, 90-something% of people never even bother to run the photo through an editor to do anything to it. They just throw it up on the Facebook and let things go. So I really commend you, Nicole, for doing that. I have one critique on the processing. With the saturation brought so far down, I feel like it's almost too bland, for lack of a better word. Like it's too colorless.
Okay.
And I know this is Captain doesn't turn up his saturation standing here, but it looks, I guess, a little unnatural to me. That having been said, I'm looking at it on my other monitor here on the left, even though Ant's sharing it and the quality is being reduced because of that, it looks brighter and a little more natural on my left than it does on my monitor on the right.
Mm-hmm.
Difference in the monitor.
And compression.
Yeah, and perhaps one interpretation of the monitor is better than the other. Who knows? Don't know. Can't say. That's the hard part when you heavily process a shot. When you get it dialed down to exactly the way you want it, and then you change screens, it oftentimes looks wrong. And that's not
nuts.
yeah, and it's not a reflection on Nicole specifically, but I've seen it even with the brightness of the screen on the phone. You take the picture at full brightness on the screen, and then when you look at it at half brightness, it looks totally different.
Yep.
And it's different, and I can't stress that enough that this may not be an intentional thing that Nicole did, but to me, it looks washed out, and whatnot. So that's just my opinion. The other comment would be as to the subject. I am guessing that this was not posed. And the reason why I say that is that if it had been a posed shot, I have a sneaking suspicion she wouldn't have had to do as much post on it to get it to look like this, the way she wanted it.
Mm-hmm.
Generally, when you pose people, you will have them hold in a position, you'll change lighting, you'll move things around, you'll add or remove things from the background, you'll give them a prop, you'll ask them to hold in a certain way, you'll ask them to smile or not smile or something, and you get a quote-unquote perfect picture that is often not perfect at all, but you get exactly what you're looking for. And you usually don't have to do a whole ton of post-processing to get it to be exactly what you're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, I'm assuming then that this is a candid that she grabbed and then went through post and whatnot.
Not a bad thing.
Not a bad thing. Not a bad thing at all. And if anything, I applaud her for taking a different path on the cropping and the centering.
Yeah.
Generally with portraiture, you put things on either the frame end, as I did with my shot, or you put them dead center.
Mm-hmm.
And this is neither. This is approximately 2/3-ish.
Slightly off to the right.
Yep, off to the right. And it is definitely one of those pictures that if you were to put a series of these together, Nicole, hint, hint, you could easily throw up in a gallery. Because there's a lot of action going on here with the face. It's a very descriptive face. I'm still not sold on the what emotion we're supposed to be capturing here.
Mm-hmm.
Because she never says.
She never says.
And to me, I want to be declaring what I'm going for.
Mm-hmm.
So people can either say, yes, you nailed it, no, you didn't.
Mm-hmm. I get that, Mr. Kelly. Well, I am going to retort.
Retort me, Ant. Retort me.
Regarding the saturation on this shot and her dimming it down, I think it works. I think it sets a mood, sets a tone. because he's got a specific posture and he's got a specific expression on his face. And when I saw the expression in that posture, I'm thinking, is he in a doctor's office? Is he in a waiting room kind of thing, waiting and nervously waiting? And that color tone being that way, it fed that to me. Had it been a little more vibrant and a little more saturated, I probably wouldn't have gotten that, because I'm assuming this is a camo hat with some green and whatnot, and that green would have came out a little more, and maybe even the color on his bibs here would have come out a little more. It just wouldn't have fed nerves to me. You know, it would have fed waiting, but it wouldn't have fed, you know, nervous waiting to me. But that's my thought on it. And I do agree with you regarding the frame being off center like that. And I think it enhanced it even more that he's leaning in that same direction too. You know, this is, I totally get it, Nicole, and I really, really like this processing. Like it a lot. But Nicole, you are the winner for this week. So congratulations to you. Turn off my screen share. Appreciate you participating and getting that shot out there. And so you're now tasked with giving us a new challenge. If you have any issues with getting that set up, just reach out to me and I'll get it set up for you on your behalf. So thank you, ma'am, and congratulations. And we appreciate everybody that was able to participate in this interesting challenge, if you will, in the community. What were you going to say, Mr. King?
Yeah, I was just saying that one shot of Nicole, I wouldn't be surprised if that's in her office at the that quarry she works at.
Right. Yeah. And that's the thing. I didn't want to assume that when I first saw it. You know, I try to throw a lot of stuff out the window when I look at the photos that are submitted either in our challenges or just shared within the community. You know, I try to throw out all my assumptions on what I know about people.
I'm just thinking, but
yeah, I just look at, okay, this is a shot they shared.
It's such a hell of a shot, though.
Yeah, good stuff.
Before we move off the challenge entirely, there's a 3-shot spread here from Delano. I hope I'm not pronouncing that wrong. Scott, and I wanted to mention, although we talk an awful lot about the 3-shot maximum, in this particular case, he's got 3 shots that are essentially before, during, and after.
Yeah.
That would be the before, that would be the during, and that would be the after.
I'll give you that. Yep.
In my opinion, Mr. Scott, ooh, that's a Star Trek reference right there. More power. No, wait, sorry, wrong thing. What I would suggest you do the next time you have a series of shots like that, Mr. Scott, would be that you edit them together.
Merge them into one, possibly?
Merge them into one widescreen shot made out of 3 verticals.
Yeah.
For 2 reasons. Yeah, for 2 reasons. One, it will only take up one of your shots instead of all 3, so you have the opportunity to do something else. And go in a different direction entirely. And 2, because I think each individual image is not as strong as the 3 of them together. So if you put the 3 of them together, you get this, again, before, during, and after effect, which is not necessarily apparent if you just look at one of them and don't see the other 2. Just, my 2 cents. And by the way, one thing that we do talk about here is that this is the smartphone photographers community, and we do encourage you to do as much as you want to on the phone in terms of editing and shooting. But we do not have a restriction that says that you have to do all of your editing and on a smartphone or other mobile device. So that could be very easily done in Photoshop, the GIMP, which is what I was trying to say the first time, or any other numerous free editors.
Yep. Heck, there are times when I shoot something, but not only will I edit it here on the computer, sometimes I edit things on the tablet. I didn't shoot it with the tablet, but I edit it on the tablet, because we got that freedom to use the tools that you have in front of you, other than shooting from a non-mobile camera.
Yeah, that we can. And don't even think about taking it with your other camera and then taking a picture of the screen. We're going to see through that.
Yeah, nice try, folks. Nice try. All right, before we get out of here, I wanted to touch on something that that I had read, or did I read it, or did I see it in a video or something? But it's just the whole notion about smartphone use today. It has been evident for at least 5, 6 years now how prominent smartphone cameras have become in photography. But I want to look at, what does photography in general mean to not only you guys here in the hangout tonight, but what does it mean to other people in the community, as well as just the average Joe that's out there. Personally, I feel like a lot of society don't necessarily hold photography in the same light that any of us do, because it's so easy to do, number one, and the photography isn't necessarily about the art. It's more so about
The selfie.
it's more narcissistic, and it's not, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a selfie to be narcissistic. It could be a shot of being at a football game. I do that a lot. I'm in the stadium and I'll take a shot of where I'm sitting or what have you, but it's a lot of that in society, at least from what I can see. I don't know what you guys see, but what I see on a daily basis through my news feeds and social media feeds and whatnot, I don't see as much artistic photography out there, unless it's from people that are flat out hardcore photographers, but there was a time in the past where anybody would just be walking the park. As Joey mentioned, we got the National Park Week coming up. People would be walking the park and would stop and say, wow, that right there is beautiful. I got to capture that. It's not like I see a lot of that anymore. What are your thoughts on that, Mr. King?
And I'll tell you what, I'm starting to see, especially on Twitter now, storm season has started. And these storms chasers, they're starting to take more and more photos of tornadoes with their smartphone. Okay. And some of those are really fabulous pictures. They're saying that they will take it first with that if they can, then they will switch over to a professional camera. But they've been taking a lot of these pictures on that I'm following different ones, and they're getting some wow pictures. But yet you're right. I'm seeing that the same thing through everything. I'm seeing the selfies. I'm seeing the food photography.
Mm-hmm. And let me clarify something. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with what society seems to do with the art of photography now. I'm not, because again, I know I am guilty of, if I'm sitting in the stadium or whatever, I'll shoot a shot from this, from my seat to show what the stadium looks like and whatnot. And generally I do that because I'm asked. Hey, next time you go, I want to see what it looks like where you sitting, that kind of thing. I do a lot of that stuff because I ask, because I'm asked. But most of the time, I'm fairly private, and I don't want to share everything. But I appreciate the people that follow me and that subscribe to my content and support my content. So I try to give what they ask for. I don't like shooting my food, but good gosh, people love food photography. Man, do they love food photography. Aunt, what you eat today? Aunt, what you drink today? Okay, this is what I ate today. And I'm happy to do it because it gives them a giggle, and it gives me a giggle that they're giggling. Yeah. So.
But you're right. I don't see the same kind of stuff like I used to. I guess because now the smartphones are everywhere and they just take pictures of anything. You don't see the stuff like the pros used to do, or even amateurs that would go out. They go somewhere and they try to find a nice shot that they're like going on vacation to let them know where everything is. But there's still some of that, and but it's a lot of young ones. It's not, when I'm saying young ones, I mean from high school to early college age. A lot of it is just, oh wow, picture, and they don't really think of it as much as or plan it as much as someone like us.
Yeah, and again, to another degree, I get it. We're not professional photographers. It's not our job to go out there and snap amazing photos to make sure that our family can eat the next day. You know, that's not what my life depends on. You know, but I just know I personally have a different approach when it comes to snapping photos versus snapping snapshots. That's just me. You know, but what are your thoughts, Mr. Kelly?
Well, I wanted to relate a story. I swear it'll be a brief one. There's a gentleman one town over from where I grew up that has a vanity plate. Image maker. And one time in my completely and totally stupid, ignorant teenage years, I asked him why it didn't say picture taker. Now I completely understand the difference.
Yeah.
There is a difference between taking a picture and making an image.
Yeah, sure is.
And there's a huge gulf there. And if you don't understand that gulf, then you're probably listening to the wrong hangout.
Yeah.
Right, because remember, this is not a podcast. Remember? Anyway, exactly. Now, it's interesting you mentioned this. I haven't done it yet, so I'm not going to talk about the details and whatnot, but allegedly I'm going to be speaking at a photography class in regards to smartphone photos. And because I've been told that I'm sort of an expert on the subject. I can't imagine where they got that idea from.
Lord.
Yeah. Don't worry, I'll call Sweeney on the phone and have him on there so he can tell everyone that I'm wrong. But as a result, I went looking for statistics on the number of photos that were taken in the United States and in the world and whatnot. And what's interesting is that there aren't any firm statistics on how many photos are taken every day, year, month. And that particular there's some things that you can measure. You can ask, for instance, Kodak, Fuji, and half a dozen other people that make film how many rolls of film they sold. And then you can extrapolate that X number of those pictures were developed and X number of those pictures were actually shot and blah, 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 blah. But once you start getting into the digital era, it's almost impossible to actually quantify the number of pictures that are taken. The number of pictures that are shared, yes. Taken, no. So a lot of this is all about, again, extrapolation and guesswork. But the newest statistics that I could find were from 2014. As they were predicting that 1 trillion photos will be taken globally last year.
That's pretty sick.
That is a 16.2% increase over 2014. They're predicting that trend is going to basically continue, so that every year we're going to see a 16%-ish increase in the number of photos that are taken.
You know, but how are they tracking that? That's what makes me curious.
Well, that's the thing, is that I think it's an extrapolation based upon the number of pictures that are shared.
Oh, okay. I got you.
I don't think there's any other way you could guess, because honestly, there's no other way to know.
Yeah, because a lot of times, I guess you can say it's some people share their photos, but it's not necessarily the first shot that they took that they shared. It's
case in point.
Yeah.
I sent you the third one out of a series of 3, and I shot 3 times as many as I shared. So you take a guess and you figure that, okay, so probably 1 out of every 25 photos or 1 out of every 10 or whatever is going to show up online. The other statistic is that, according to this, which is again extrapolation, by next year, 2017, 78.8% of all photos will be taken by mobile phones.
I can see that.
And then I went, geez, that cannot be right. That can't be. Then I got thinking about it.
You think it's low or high?
Well, I got thinking that cannot be right, because there cannot be that many pictures taken by cell phones. And then I'm going, wait a minute, hold on a minute. You got to figure that if every person that owns a smart device takes one picture every day,
Billions.
holy crap.
Billions.
Well, just look how let's say Apple. Look how many iPhones from what's out now to the people are still using the 5,
Yes,
5C. Right, and there are even some they're still using the 4S. And then you got all the Samsung different phones.
Billions.
Right, so it's just unbelievable.
Another thing you have to consider, Mr. Kelly, is look back at about 3 or 4 years ago, when the Chicago Tribune pretty much laid off their photography team and made their journalists say, you know what, you're gonna have to shoot your own shots for your work.
Yep.
I.e., using their smartphones, not a camera, smartphone.
Not necessarily. That's a slight move on the journalism front. I think that was a cost-cutting move. I don't think that had anything to do with the quality of the photo.
No, that's what I'm saying. It was a cost-cutting move, but it's a normal trend nowadays. You know.
No, sorry, not buying that one.
You don't think so?
Because I don't see that as being a direct correlation to going to cell phones. I see that as a fundamental statement that no matter what you're using these days, an automatic setting is going to be right for 98% of the photos you take.
Yeah.
That's what I say. And that they didn't want to spend the money to have 2 people go out when one person could just send them out with a point-and-shoot camera and take a picture of it.
No, I don't think I explained what my brain was thinking properly.
I have that problem.
But no, what I'm saying is it just sort of seems typical to see more smartphones shooting nowadays, regardless of the scenario. It just seems more typical. You're at a wedding, and they have a wedding photographer. They have one wedding photographer, sometimes 2 or 3 wedding photographers, but there's 3 times as many smartphones they're snapping shots that end up getting a lot of use one way or another through social sharing and so forth, and it's just the way that it is now, and you think about a concert or think about sporting events or whatever, and they allow you to bring cameras into sporting events.
I'm starting to see a lot of now using for photography.
What's that?
The iPad.
Oh God, yeah, I still see that. It sort of bugs me.
I'm seeing a ton of them.
Yeah.
I went on a trip not too long ago. It was a rail trip, and all right, you had all these. They did a photo run by. It was Union Pacific did this. This was last year. And when they were doing that, you had your little point and shoots or your SLRs, even movie cameras. But then here is this line of people with the iPad Mini, iPad Air, and all that. Said, good grief.
It's a trend I've seen for a while. I don't care for it, but hey, to each his own. All right, folks, we're gonna get out of here. It's late, and
yes.
We need to shut this thing down. Appreciate the folks that have been watching, but before we go, I'm going to allow these gentlemen hanging out with me tonight to let us know where we can find them, as well as any other musings or work projects that they have going on right now. Let's start down in Tejas with Mr. King.
I can be found on the web anywhere as either Michael King or Michael King 4023. And as always, the 3rd Saturday of the month, I can be found at the Houston Area Apple Users Group, and on the board. And if you want to look us up, it's hog.net. .org.
All right. All right. Thank you again, Mr. King, for joining us this week. It's always good to see you. Next up, we'll go back up to Maine with Mr. Blue Gloves on. Mr. Joey Kelly, where do we find you in your work, my man?
Well, you can find me in my interpretive group, the Blue Man Group, in Vegas. No.
Right.
Right.
Scanning slides, folks. Try to take my work seriously.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that?
No,
I got some swampland in Florida for you.
Yeah, right. Anyway, yes, on the side I sell oceanfront property in Arizona. But no, moving on. You can find me and just about everything that you want to know about me at Joey, Joey Kelly, KELLEY.com. JOEY Kelly, KELLEY.com. You'll find my photos. You'll find a variety of other things. And let me see, don't forget the quotes page with such wonderful quotes as, and I'm going to find one here. A committee is a cul-de-sac down which ideas are lured and then quietly strangled.
That's a winner.
Sir Barnett Cox, believe it or not, a British politician.
Nice. That's a winner. Good one. Good to see you as always, Mr. Kelly, and thank you for hanging out with me tonight.
As always.
All right. Lastly, myself, folks, find me here on Google+. Just search for Ant Pruitt. That's A-N-T Pruitt, and you'll find my Google+ profile with all of my random posts and content and so forth. You can also check out my blog at antpruitt.com. Fairly easy enough to find that, right? And there you'll see more musings, random stuff, and videos and whatnot. The YouTube channel, youtube.com/AntPruitt. I have other video content there. It can be a mix of anything, but there's several playlists there and a couple playlists that are related to this smartphone photography. So check that out. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the like button. Do the same for this particular video here tonight. Check out smartphone-photographers.com. That is the community website where you'll find all of these videos as a rerun and a few other blog posts here and there. Thank you again for the tremendous support of the Smartphone Photographers community. If you're interested in joining, feel free to let me know and request an invite. You must be a member or a user of Google+, and what we'll do is myself or any of the other moderators will take a look at your Google+ profile, and we'll see if you fit in, because we don't do the whole just sitting around lurking and watching everybody. You know, we like to share our photos, but we also like to take an opportunity to share resources and knowledge, you know, try to make everybody better at this little craft. At least that's my aim anyway. But thank you folks for watching. Appreciate all the support. Look for us next Thursday at about 9 p.m. Eastern time, depending on what goes on in the day of life of Ant Pruitt. But appreciate the patience for me starting late this week and now ending a little late. But thank you again, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.